Now, as we dive into the proof protocol, I want to take a minute to talk about the proof power curve. So in the last video, we talked about all the elements that have to be in place for you to have a minimum viable business. And one of those requirements is you have to have a way to prove they will get the result. If they're going to give you their money, they want the result in return. And it's because of this issue, the fact that they need to know they're going to get the result, that we see this proof power curve. And what it tells us is that not all proof is created equal, and not even close. It's not even like kind of equal. So we're going to just step through it. We'll start here at the very top. And the first thing you notice is that the largest piece of proof you could ever give someone is when they get the result. Okay, so this is at like the end, but once this is in place, they believe your product gets results. So if this was you, this was the before you here, and this is the current you now, and it was because of some diet product. By the way, probably the industry that gets this better than anyone else is diet and weight loss, right? You think of all the before and after pictures and the way they do videos and they show their product in action, those kinds of things. They get it. So that's why we're going to go with that theme for this video here. So if this was you before, and then you took some diet supplement, and this was you now, and you lost all this weight, you are essentially 100%. I say 99% because there's a tiny chance you might think something you did like exercise got you the result, but pretty much you're a believer in this product that you took that got you this result. So that's at the very, very top of the proof power curve is when you get the result. Now we drop down to this one right here, and this is when a person you trust shows you that they got the result. So if this photo right here was a good friend or a brother or an uncle or someone you trust, you know them, you personally know them, you trust them, and you saw them go through this transformation and they said it was because of a supplement they were taking, now you'll see, and again, these numbers aren't perfect, but I'm trying to show you the how proof degrades as it gets away from specificity and trust. So in this case, let's say there's a 60% chance that when a person you trust shows you that they got the result, show being the key word there, it's a photo, it's a video, or you see it in person, then it's got a lot of power. It's not exactly the same, obviously, as you getting the result yourself, right? There's some questions there. Will I get the result? Will I not? Am I going to be different than them? Are going to be able to handle the supplement the same way? Those kinds of things. But it's very, very high. So this is the next best form of proof. The next one here is a person that you don't know, but that they show you that they got the result. So in this one, you know the person and you see this before and after. And this one, you don't know the person, but they still show you this before and after, and you can tell it's them and, you know, they got the result. And you see this a lot in weight loss products. This is probably the primary form of proof that you'll see on a weight loss product because you don't know the people on the page. You just see a bunch of pictures of before and after showing weight loss. Okay, so that's this one here. And it's somewhere less than this one. You know, we don't have a number for this one here. It's just you're getting the general curve here you can see is going down from this top result. Now, this one here is where it changes over. And this is where a person you trust just tells you they got the result. So like this could be a message, it could be an email, it may not, you know, this is going to be someone you don't see all the time, and they send you an email and they say, hey, I took this supplement and I got these great results, and you trust them and they told you they got the result. Well, that's a little bit less than seeing the result with your own eyes, even if it's a person that you don't know in this one, whereas this one, it's a person you trust that tells you that. So that's this level here. And then you come down to here, and this is a person you don't know, but they tell you they got the result. This is the common testimonial that you will find, you know, whether it's a Facebook post, somebody screenshots, and this one's really common in courses, online courses. You'll see lots of people posting Facebook proof images saying, you know, I took the course, I made some money or whatever, or they'll say I took the supplement, I lost a bunch of weight. But this is someone you don't know, but they tell you they got the result, and that carries obviously some proof here. Not as much as these, but it does carry some proof. And then there's a, you know, quite a bit of loss of the power of proof as we go down this curve, and this would would be like samples, free trials, things like that, where you just get to see the product, but you haven't got the result yet, but you get to see the interface. Then maybe a how it works video. This would be, you see something on TV saying, here's how the product works and it should work for you. And then we get into just how it works in text, where there's like a textual description of like how it should work, the mechanism, the way it works. Then you get into things like good design, the website looks sharp, and here's an issue in copywriting. So a lot of people spend enormous amounts of time studying copywriting, and it's this idea that, if we can just make the words sound right, if we can just, get some persuasion in the way we talk about, use the wording that the customer uses, these kinds of things, that, that's going to be the thing that sells. But it's way down here on the proof power curve. And you get things like a phone number, 1-800-SUPPORT, like you can call anytime and get help if you need it, or as seen on TV, or as seen in newspapers, or people we've worked with in the past, and they're well-known brands. And then you get things like a guarantee. Now, all these things can be proof elements, right? And you hear these talked about all the time in copywriting courses and courses that teach you how to create sales letters and things. These are all fine enough proof elements. I'm not saying they don't work, and I'm not saying that you don't need them on the page. What I'm saying is, as a percentage of adding proof for the customer believing they're going to get the results, they're way down here on the curve. You have to have lots of these things, and even then the customer may not believe. So one thing that I want to point out on this curve is this section right here is taking a hit right now. The person you don't know shows you that they got the result because of AI, right? So we're in this mode right now where people don't even believe what they see anymore. So there was a day when everyone understood you could use things like Photoshop and you could alter photos and things, but not to the level and not to the ease that you can now with AI. And so it's going to get that much more difficult to sell online because people won't even trust what they see in images and even in videos as AI gets more popular. And so you have to work that much harder to prove that your product really is legitimate and it will get the customer the results they need. But these kinds of things down here, you can do them as, really, really well, and you still don't establish the kind of proof that even one or two of these up here will do. Okay. And this is the key thing. I want to reframe the way you think about proof. I want this image to stick in your head. Now, what we're going to be after in the rest of this course is we want to fit right in here. Okay. This is where the biggest leverage is, because you are going to be, showing your product, showing your offer to people that don't know you yet, but you need to get the most proof power possible. And that's this spot right here. So it's a person you don't know, but they show you that they got the result. Show being the key word, it's visual. They show you that they got the result. That's the highest amount of proof for someone you don't know. Of course, if you have your own list and they already trust you and then you show them, that's up in this area. And then of course, when they get the result, that's a foregone conclusion. They got the result. They really believe now. So this really is if you already have an audience, they trust you, and then you show them. That's why you see, when you mail to your own list, you see huge conversion rates compared to cold traffic or people that you don't know. But this is where we're going to focus, because I know a lot of you don't have a product yet. Or if you have a product, it's a new product and you're going to be going after a new audience. So we'll focus here. And really, when you build your business, starting at this point right here, a person you don't know shows you that they got the result, and you focus on that show part, that visual proof part, which you'll see how we're going to do that in a second. You have the highest chance of proving the belief, a way to prove that they will get the result. And remember, that's a requirement to have the minimum viable business. So when you start here, you set yourself up for the highest possibility of success. And that's true even if these other things aren't present, right? And you'll see that in a minute. I want to point out one last thing. And if you are a fan of like old copywriting books, old marketing books, you need to know this curve has changed dramatically over time. So maybe, this is where things are now, but years and years ago, maybe these things would have been higher up on the curve, the copywriting and as seen in support and those things. Generally speaking, people are more skeptical and cynical today than they've ever been. And the case in point is, it was Sears, the man who started the Sears and Roebuck catalog, who said basically, if you've got the right guy in front of you and you write your offer with a crayon on a brown paper bag, that as long as you got the right guy in front of you, that, he would take you up on that offer. Well, that's not true today anymore. You can take a crayon and write a perfect, have the exact right person in front of you and write on a crayon that you'll do something. And there's a good chance the person won't believe you that you'll actually be able to do it, right? They don't even believe what people say anymore because they've been ripped off so many times. So it's not enough anymore just to be this great copywriter. It's not enough just to have good design or to have videos showing how something works or samples, those things. Yeah, you're going to make sales. I'm not saying it won't work at all, but there's tons of that out there now. The competition for those kinds of things, it's everywhere. So to really set yourself apart, you have to move up the proof power curve and be someone who shows people, very specifically shows them exactly the result they get so that they will believe you. And when you have a way to prove they'll get the result, you automatically make your chances of getting your business off the ground and making it successful in the long term that much higher.